Alrighty, everyone, welcome in. Happy Tuesday to the stock up slash stock down series, the stock report series. Today, as you can see, is a stock up of one of my favorite rising sort of fantasy prospects or sort of big breakout candidates so far as of end of May, and that is Calvin Ridley. So Calvin Ridley comes into this year kind of in the, is he a wide receiver one? Is he a wide receiver two? Where do I rank him compared to Allen Robinson all the way down to Terry McLaurin? It's kind of hard to gauge where he is. Well, we're here to tell you that he is above those guys. I don't know about Allen Robinson, but he is going to be elite this year. So vacated production, a heavy pass offense, and overall talent is ultimately what I see with him. Vacated production, meaning X players. So I'll just give an example. Austin Hooper left the team. His production is vacated. We're not taking into account the new coming players. We're just taking into account they left. So overall, there's 257 targets and 14 touchdowns. But if you break it down position by position, so at the running back, 78 targets, 4 touchdowns. This is just receiving work. Wide receivers, 68 targets and 4 touchdowns. Tight ends, 111 targets and 6 touchdowns. So, yes, I'm not going to neglect that Hayden Hurst, Todd Gurley, and Russell Gage are still there, but our 2 newcomers and Russell Gage really going to take in all that target share. I don't think Julio can see much more than he already sees because he sees the number 1 coverage, and he kind of seems like he, not capped in a bad way, but he always seems to get right around where he stands every single year. So Ridley is in a prime spot to see the not as good corner on teams and take up all this vacated production on a pass-heavy offense that averaged 10.77 pass attempts over the league average of every single team last year. And then one more thing before I'll turn it over to Tyler here for the schedule sort of breakdown of him. So Austin Hooper and Mohamed Sanu obviously left. I took his game splits without Austin Hooper. So with Austin Hooper, he averaged 6 targets a game and a 15% target share. Without Austin Hooper, 10 targets a game and all the way up to 24.6 target share. Obviously, Mohamed Sanu left. With Mohamed Sanu, 6.3 targets per game and a 15% target share. Without him, 20% target share and 8 targets per game. So as you can see, obviously he gets more targets when those guys are out. But those guys are still kind of not there because, like I said, you can't project Hayden Hurst to fill all the vacated production or say Russell Gage, or I think they have Laquan Treadwell, or no one capable of Mohamed Sanu really is what I feel like. So like I said, the vacated production always evens out, whether that's Russell Gage takes in all of Mohamed Sanu's work or Calvin Ridley takes some and Russell Gage fills in the end. So I'm super high on Calvin Ridley. That is why his stock's up. So Tyler, break down the schedule and then I'll go through some trades that have just happened recently.
Yeah, real quick, just before I touch the schedule, 34th in overall targets last year. So I do see that going up. Just to touch on the vacation that is there, 11.1 touchdown rate. That's correlated based off the fact that Julio gets so much attention in the red zone, and now you're taking away the tight end. Yes, Hayden Hurst will come in, and I think there will be some adjustment to that. Matt Ryan has played with Austin Hooper for a long time, so there was a lot of rapport built there. He already has that with obviously Calvin Ridley and Julio. I think that could honestly go up. I think you could see more than the 7 touchdowns he saw last year. And then he has a 2.1 fantasy point per target. So he's getting the ball in deep. Obviously PPR for that, but he's getting the ball in deep and he's doing work. So yeah, very, very big on the stats for Ridley, pointing for him to go up. And then you look at the schedule. So I was kind of going back in my head. I'm like back and forth in my head. Do I want to make this guy kind of like a trade target, or do I want to make this guy like maybe a guy that you draft and you just kind of take the hits at the beginning? It's an interesting schedule to start the season. So week 1, it's Seattle. Could be up and down there. It's in Mercedes-Benz, so I could get behind that he could actually have a good game there. They got to go to AT&T Stadium against Dallas. I honestly like that matchup. I think Chidobe is going to be shadowing Julio, and they're going to put a safety over Julio too. Secondary is not that great, and I really like the fact that Ridley could exploit that. The Bears come to them, another very favorable matchup in Week 3. They have to go to Green Bay, which will be a very rough matchup. I don't really recommend anyone playing him there. But after that comes a 5-game stretch where I'm like, he literally could be top 5 wide receiver in every single one of these weeks. He goes Carolina comes to them in week 5. They go to Minnesota, weak secondary, very young too. The Lions come to them. Right after that, Carolina comes to them. And then the Broncos come to them. So that's 3 straight, not only home games where Matt Ryan is electric, but against a Lions who are a complete rebuild on the secondary, Carolina who is a complete rebuild on the secondary, and Denver who they lost their best cornerback piece. I think he's a phenomenal guy to grab. The back end of the schedule is really rough. He's got to face the Saints twice, the Bucs twice. He's got to face the Chargers. I think it's a guy who's interesting because Week 16 is the Chiefs. So if you have a very safe team by the time their bye week hits in Week 10, I 100% can get behind shipping them off and trying to get some bigger pieces for you. But if you're pretty set wide receiver wise and you're like, you know what, I can take the hit of 2 Bucs games, I can take the hit of 2 Saints games, the Chargers game as well, so that I can have him against the Chiefs, do it because he honestly could be a league winner in Week 16.
Yeah, for sure. I think they don't take the schedule too hard into account in terms of the bad games because they throw the ball so much that it evens out. Yeah, so I don't think it matters, but not to the extent of maybe, I don't know, a Tyler Lockett or someone that doesn't have the huge amount of pass attempts. So I'm just going to read off a couple trades from the DLF Trade Finder application they have on there. So DJ Chark, this is the most recent one in PPR leagues. DJ Chark and Calvin Ridley for Tyreek Hill. Like, I guess there's 2 sides to it. We don't know the team sort of sides. But you just kind of see that people are sort of 2 lower-end guys that could easily be ones to maybe a Tyreek Hill. So he's kind of – like, I guess I'm higher on him is what we're trying to show. But he's kind of there. Calvin Ridley and a 2021 third-round pick for Mark Andrews and a 2020 round fifth. 2021 – yeah. It's tough to see.
Unless it's a tight end premium, and still then I'm questioning that.
For sure. And then there's another Mark Andrews one similar with Calvin Ridley to Mark Andrews, a couple of draft picks. Calvin Ridley in a 209 for Darius Slayton in a 109.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm still stuck in the fact that people are trading Chark and Ridley together for Hill. I don't know if I do that. I'm kind of still hanging on that.
For sure. And then the last one I have that kind of, I think, shows a good set of value. So Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry for Calvin Ridley and Mike Gesicki. I think that's a good price point because you're kind of taking into account, like, Hunter Henry's on his franchise tag, hasn't shown much, injury concerns. Keenan Allen's losing his quarterback, but then you're getting the safe Calvin Ridley with elite upside and Mike Gesicki coming into this year. So I think what I'm trying to show with these trades is that he's right at about market as to where I think people think he's at. But like I'm saying right now, stock up, go buy into him because he's going to be much higher. Give him 1 game, give him 2 games. I comp him to the Chris Godwin situation last year. Vacated production, pass-heavy offense, not that many competing targets, and he's just good at football. So we'll see that, I think, thrive this year with the good schedule, with the vacated production, with the pass-heavy offense, and hopefully a healthy Falcons team.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see what he can do. I think the schedule is remarkably favorable. Obviously, this offense is great. So I really just do get behind Calvin Ridley, and I think the overall value that he's kind of sitting at right now is just great. It's about 5th, 6th round, and I honestly get behind that. I think it's very much worth the risk. I've been taking running backs early. If Calvin Ridley is my number 1 wide receiver going into next year, I don't know how scared I would be. Honestly, I think it's a very favorable situation. I think this is the year of Calvin Ridley. Very excited to see what he can do in Atlanta with this offense that I think is just going to be humming, even though the defense is still very terrible.
All righty. That being said, the website is finished, our updated, but receiver, as of now when we're recording, there's some technical difficulties. So the link will be downloaded to the write-up. If it doesn't work, bear with us. We'll get that fixed. But if it does, go enjoy that in the new site. We'll get our rankings on there soon. We'll see you guys next week.